Hey, what's up, everyone? Here is question number 6 of question of the day, which these are questions that we get from our contact forums, pretty regularly. And so it is my goal to share these with you in the hopes that maybe these kind of sound like maybe what you're dealing with your dogs, and to help give you some insight on how to approach the situation. Okay, so for question number 6, here's what we got. So we have 3 dogs. One is an 8-month Shepherd Heeler mix, the other one is 3 years old, and the last one is 6 years old. Our main focus is the younger 8-month-old dog. She's very destructive, nervously excited. She has chewed doors and other items, pretty much anything she can get a hold of. I am seriously at a point of wanting to get rid of her. She has me that mad. We love her, but can no longer deal with her behaviors. Massive, excessive barking, urination in the house, separation anxiety, digging, and on the form it did say that this dog, barks, lunges at humans, children, other dogs. And so basically this is how we would start out with this dog. A lot of these things are symptoms of underlying issues. You've probably heard us say that a bunch of times. We need to teach the dog what she should do. Okay, so urination in the house, massive barking, separation anxiety, the pulling on the leash. The question is pretty general on that, but if the dog's pulling on the leash, it can contribute to the barking and lunging at other dogs, humans, and children. So those are all things that we want to get squared away, right? And so we do that by implementing some structure, right? Getting some rules in place, getting the right tools on board, right? So you'd want to be getting your dog on a Hermsprenger prong collar, starting out with that, moving to remote collar training. We always recommend that because it gives you off-leash reliability. You're not going to get that anywhere else. So you're going to want to start with all the foundation stuff. Place, sit, down, going into the crate nicely, waiting in thresholds, working the dog for their daily meals, in the morning and at night, okay? Because that's going to drain mental energy. You're going to be training the commands that you want the dog to do, right? So you start training those things and you get them to a nice high level on leash and off leash, okay? And so you've got massive excessive barking, urination in the house. The urinating in the house, the dog has got too much freedom to move around and make those choices. So for now, you need to control movement, okay? You need to say, hey, I need you to go lay down and I need you to not move until I take you outside, okay? Because this is going to teach the dog how to hold their bladder. The other thing, going into the crate nicely, that's another area in which is going to help the dog learn how to hold their bladder, okay? The excessive barking, again, is the dog barking out the window? Things like that. Put them on place, okay? If they're on place, they can't look out the window, right? If they're not allowed to look out the window and bark, they're not allowed to practice looking out the window and barking. So that's our first step, is we have to even stop giving them the ability to practice it, because every time they practice it, they self-reinforce it, okay? So you need to manage their space a little bit better, right? Let's see here, separation anxiety. Again, doing all these other things, working on place, getting a nice walk-in order, working the dog for their meals. All of these things are going to help with the separation anxiety, because the dog on place who's no longer free roaming can't get up and get under and defection from you. You're actually creating emotional distance between you and the dog by having them not right next to you, having them sleep in their kennels and things like that. this is stuff we have to do for a time until we start seeing better behaviors from our dog, you know. And that could be like, okay, you know, you're in the kennel, and until I can see that I can put you in the kennel and you don't throw a fit trying to get out or barking and all those types of things, you want to get that going first before, you know, you maybe allow a little bit more freedom in the house, a little bit more looseness in the house, or a little bit more affection during, you know, the evening hours and things like that. You don't want to create an unbalanced relationship, one where there's lots of affection and not enough rules, boundaries, structure, things like that. So we have to tip the scales in the rules department until we see better stuff, and then we can start to level that out with, you know, affection and things like that. A lot of this, you know, you're just mad at her. It's like, again, we need to teach the dogs what we want from them, because they don't know inherently what we want from them. She's just doing what dogs do, and that's taking the easy route. It's easy for her to just bark at things. It's easy for her to just go and pee in the corner. It's easy for her to pull on the leash. The challenge is reeling those things in, teaching her a new lifestyle, and then doing that enough times until it becomes default. Especially with an 8-month-old dog, you got a puppy here, and they don't know what to do. And it's even more crucial that we are diligent with the puppies, because, you know, these are the formidable years, and this is where we have to implement loads of management and you know, really like keep like eyes like a hawk on the puppies, you know, because they have an attention span that's like this big, and they're just constantly trying to figure things out. And so that's where we need to give them the guidance for a while, you know. Dogs stay in adolescence until about 3 years of age, and at that point, that's when they start to mature into adult dogs. But until that point, you know, we've got like toddler. Essentially, it's like a toddler, and then they get into like their teenage years, and that's when they start trying to push more boundaries and seeing just what they can get away with. You know, are you going to follow through with what you ask? Because that's what they are trying to figure out. Sorry, like my phone is on silent, but I keep getting phone calls coming through. So it always comes down to teaching them what to do first, okay? And then we can start holding them accountable for what they know, you know. But you can't start telling your dog no for peeing in the house when they don't know what the word nope means. They haven't been shown clearly where they're supposed to go to the bathroom, you know. And so going back to the training, you're going to want to have a leash on her when you're doing the leash training work, so you can easily just pick up the leash and move her around if needed. That's just going to help you with communication, okay? Instead of trying to grab her, trying to wrangle her in if she breaks command, or, you know, she's running around the house. You don't want to do a chase me game, and the leash is going to help mitigate that chase me game. That definitely happens a lot, you know, because the dog might think it's a game if you're like, no, and you're trying to run after them or something like that. So yeah. And, you know, and I would also look at your other dogs. Like, what are they doing? You know, how are they? Are they a good influence for her? Dogs learn from each other, and so we'd want to check in and just see what are other dogs doing, you know, because we can't expect one dog to be super great, but then we allow the other two to be, you know, we're a little bit more loose with them, and it never works out with dogs on doing different things. Okay, we want to definitely, unless you're a savvy owner who can go between the two, you know, hey, this is how we treat these dogs, this is how we treat these dogs. For me, I want all my dogs to basically be doing the same thing, because it just makes it easier for me. Okay, if you find this helpful, maybe share this. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments. We will see you at the next question of the day. Talk to you later.